Namaste, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Fine, sir. Uh, First, I would like to introduce myself, sir. I'm Ranjith Vadiyala. I'm from Andhra Pradesh. I work for a IT recruiting firm as the Indian operations head. So, to the viewers, I've been following IRG's videos on PGurus for a lot of time, and I always thought that IRG should speak more, rather than he's actually limiting himself to only interviewing the people. So I thought someone should be actually interviewing him. So I requested him the same, and he, accepted it immediately. So I'm very grateful to you, sir, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Ranjit. Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. So, sir,
You can start
can
firing
we?
your questions. You can start firing your questions.
Okay, sir. So, sir, let's discuss about the hot topic these days, sir. Elections. Okay, I think even if you talk about anything else these days, I don't think people are going to listen. So let us start the things with the elections, sir. What are your predictions, sir? Do you have any predictions or numbers in your mind? What are your predictions for especially the parliamentary elections?
Yes. So I have been part of many polls with NewsX and also with some other platforms. And
Yes,
my
sir.
gut feeling tells me that India is going to vote decisively. By that,
Right.
what I mean is the NDA is going to get 300 plus, or they will not even reach 200. It's not
Oh.
going to be some middling number, in my opinion. And
uh,
the reason I also have for coming up with that conclusion is that this election cycle is 6 7 weeks long, and that's a
mm,
little bit long. There is a little bit of you know uh, uh, people are getting a little tired.
yes.
Fatigue is
Yes.
beginning to set in, especially, and it's very hot now. Summer is
Yeah.
blazing down, and therefore, the if you look at the trend, right, Bharatiya Janata Party has been picking up strength, and more Modi ji, addresses audiences.
Mm,
The past elections have shown that once Modi starts an election campaign, there is a
mm.
swing of between 4 to 5% of
Wow.
popular vote in his favor. That's a
Hmm.
significant number. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
can move the needle that much. Therefore, and he has a body of work to show as accomplishments. So he may not have delivered on everything, but he has a
Yes.
body of work to say, look, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, and I need you to give me an opportunity to come and do a better job on all these following things. And he has been working towards that. If you look at what his speeches have been in Jammu, he's been saying now, I am surely
Mm,
going to, withdraw Article 35A and then also Article
yes.
70. And he
Yes.
explains this in one of his interviews in great detail. He says nobody
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to invest in Kashmir Valley because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very
Yeah.
logical things that we all can understand and empathize with. So
I
let's
think this. I think this time they're going to do it. I guess they are actually sounding it more decisive this time rather than the last time. It was only. I mean, I wasn't very active in politics the last time around. As I'm this time, thanks to social media, I wasn't even a big fan of Modi during 2014 elections. For me, he was like anyone else. So I wasn't a particular fan of Modi. But thanks to social media and people like you who woke up a lot of people like us, now we are you know following in your footsteps. Okay, sir. And next thing, sir, on a sideline,
yeah.
the constant complaint has been from many quarters that the voting percentage, especially in the urban areas, have always been less. I guess this is the same. The phenomena is same across the world. I guess it's not limited to India or anything like that. It is the case everywhere. But recently, Jayaprakash Narayan sir, spoke somewhere or written somewhere. I don't remember. He was talking about there are some countries where they can actually vote online. I'm not
Yes.
sure how secure it is, but if that happens, is it not going to, dramatically alter the scenario, sir? It's if it is safe, if you can, connect it to, your fingerprint or iris or something like that and
Yes.
make it
Yes.
100% secure. When you are making transactions across our internet, why can't you simply vote? Why is it so tough?
Absolutely
Any idea?
true. Absolutely possible. In fact, I referred to this in one of my earlier videos just 2 days ago, and I'll
Oh,
just share
really?
it again as part of
Mhm.
this talk because it's very useful. What
Okay.
the current government, what they need to do is within the next 2 years, they need to
Mm.
transition all Aadhaar cards to
Mm.
retina-based biometric. That is your eyeball. See,
Yeah, yeah.
the retina has its own random pattern that is etched in, and that does not
Mhm.
change for your entire life. One time,
Okay.
people have to go into the nearest Aadhaar office and have their retinal biometric taken. And once that happens, then the Aadhaar that will come out of that will be a permanent record for their life. So that's one
Yeah.
major hurdle passed. The next thing that they can do, the government can do, is develop an app based on this new technology called distributed ledger technology. Because with DLT, what happens is tampering is near impossible. I wouldn't say
Oh.
it's impossible. Impossible.
Mm.
So DLT or blockchain, if you use that
Okay.
technology based on which you allow people to vote, and if they have the retinal signature already embedded, then what
Mm.
happens is the election commission can tie someone's Aadhaar card with their vote.
Mm.
Okay, so
Very good.
all you will need is your smartphone, and in your
Mm.
smartphone you have an app. Just like these days the smartphone can read a QR code
Yes.
like Paytm,
Yes.
right? Same thing. You
Yes.
just look at it, and it will get your retinal pattern, and it will
Mm.
identify who you are. You don't even have to do anything. The app will identify you, and it will tell
Mm.
you, okay, so this is the app. These are the contestants. How do you want to register your vote? You do the same thing that you do now in your EVM. You click the
Mm.
person to whom you want to vote for, and it gets
Mm.
registered. Okay.
Yeah.
Now elections can be done from the comfort of your home, and
Mm.
also you can do this thing over a period of 1 week. You can say 1 week you can vote, and if you want to change your vote in this 1 week, you can do that also. The
Wow.
last vote you put, will be your vote.
Mm. Mm. That's really good thing, sir. Because
Yes, yes.
the problem right now is I've actually seen a photograph on Facebook. It was actually doing rounds. A drunk old man sitting at the corner of the road. The picture was there, and below that it was written, "If you don't vote, this guy is going to decide who is going to rule your country." It was little exaggerated, but actually
Yes,
that's what is happening, sir.
yes, yes.
Most of the people who vote these days are, at least 50-60% of them are, either they're basing their votes on, the biryani and wine they're getting, drinks they're getting, or the cash, all these things. The so-called educated people will simply go to parks. They don't vote. So what's fun? If this is happen, what you're saying is, if it is secure, then,
Yes.
you will register automate almost 90%. And I think, the power of money and all these things will also vanish over a period of time, I guess, because the
Absolutely.
educated block is going to be a decisive factor.
Yes, and not only that, in 5 years' time, I can tell you with 99% accuracy that every home is going to have a
Mm.
smartphone. One
Yeah.
smartphone at least. Every home. Doesn't matter
Yes.
what your economic strata is. So,
Yes. Yes,
so
sir.
with that, you don't. Every member doesn't have to have their own phone. One phone will do the
Yeah.
job
Yeah.
because based
Yeah.
on the retinal signature, it is going to recognize who you are, and it's very very easy. Plus, you don't have to go out and stand in lines, right?
Yeah.
In also the other thing that the government can mandate is they can say you have to have a very good reason to not vote, because now the vote is coming to you, it's coming to your house.
Yeah. And also you can even connect it to the E-Seva Kendra, sir, because E-Seva is,
Yeah, yeah,
a lot more reachable than anything else. Like you
right,
can,
right,
use post offices, you can use, because, you can always have a device, a small device which you can
right.
have, put it in a post office or E-Seva Kendra. And, definitely, maybe not 100%, but at least definitely it will increase the vote share by 95%.
And
Yeah,
not
I
only
think
that,
apart from this, sir, the
yeah,
another thing that can actually dramatically change is to have elections across the country at the same time, for state, central, panchayats, and everything. And
that's why
let's
I'm
get
saying
rid of this nonsense in
one
six
week
months.
1 week
Yeah,
window in
whatever.
which you can do it. Not only that, remember there's one other big problem right now that needs to be still tackled. That is, people vote once, they go outside, use nail polish remover, and then it
Ah,
comes off. It may not come
yeah.
off completely, but it may come off a little bit, then they can paint it over. People are doing some sneaky methods to go in and cast their vote again. With the retinal
Mhm.
scan, it makes it much much harder, much
I
much
think
harder.
it's almost impossible, I guess.
Yes, yes,
With,
because you
yeah.
cannot hide your eye by
Yeah.
putting a different. It's not done.
It's almost impossible. Yeah, that's
It's
true.
very
That's
very
true.
difficult, and therefore your duplication of votes will go away,
Almost. Yeah.
right?
Okay,
So
sir.
the other problem that we have today is because it's a 7-week schedule, and if people
Mm.
have two votes, one at the workplace and one at their
Yeah.
residential area, they can come back and forth and vote in both places. These things have to be curbed.
Yeah. And there are a lot of people who have two votes, sir. I guess. Yeah,
Right,
it's
right,
of course.
right.
So it's practically not 60% who are voting. Actually, I think 6% will be people who have votes in two different places. So
Right,
even in
right.
that case, at least 30-35% people are not voting. Okay, sir.
Correct, correct.
So let's of course, I know that you have been openly supporting India and Narendra Modi to come back to power. So there is no secret there. So. But sir, let's put that aside, sir. So we practically have three options. One is India coming back to power. Second, Congress with its other UPA allies, and Mahagathbandhan. And fourth option is Congress, UPA, Mahagathbandhan in a bigger Khichdi kind of a scenario.
Yes,
So
yes.
not everything is gango. I know that there are a lot of things that we expect Modi to do, but it doesn't mean that it's everything is bad. They're definitely doing far better than the previous regimes. That I think everyone will agree. Most of the people will agree. But if for example, if India doesn't come to power, and if UPA or Congress or the Mahagathbandhan, UPA, Congress, all these people put together will form a government. Do you think the scenario where we used to have I.K. Gujral for 6 months, H.D. Devagowda for 4 months, that kind of a scenario will again arise, and you'll have a decisive leadership at the center? Do you foresee some kind of that kind of a scenario arising?
Right. See, the only way a Mahagathbandhan can be stable is
Mm,
if the Samajwadi Party and BSP, Bahujan Samaj Party, they sweep the table in UP, they get
mm,
40-40 each or something close to
mm,
that, which means they have 70 seats between them,
mm,
then it is possible. I don't see it
mm,
happening with any other combination, because you take West Bengal, for example. Mamta is
mm.
getting beaten, battered right now, and she's
Yeah,
trying all sorts of methods to try and keep to get come back to power. So my
Mm,
opinion is that Mamta the 25 out of 42 maybe, and
mm.
then Chandrababu Naidu, how many? 25, 24 seats or something like that in Andhra?
No,
How
no,
many?
I think it is 19 or 20, sir.
Yeah, so even if he sweeps, which he's not going to because he is not been looking very strong, so that
Yeah.
takes him out of the way. Then Mamta Didi may be 25. She may be like hoping for a deputy prime minister or something like that, with one of these
Mm,
two, Akhilesh or Mayawati, becoming the prime minister.
mm,
And then all the other people will kind of come and join, because they'll feel like it's like live and let live, that kind of thing. But Congress will
mm.
not be part of that government, but they will do all the remote driving. They'll have 40 to 60
Yeah,
seats, something like that.
same thing. What they were doing, back,
Exactly, exactly,
yeah,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. So
So, do you
and
have seen this? Do you watch movies, sir?
yes, I do. Yes, sometimes.
So that you must have watched that Senkat's movie, sir. Where Arjun becomes CM.
Oh, Mudalwan. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Right,
Same kind of scenario, sir. In that also same thing happens.
right,
If Raghuvaran will actually, calls everyone in the opposition, and they form an alliance and to
right,
simply, throw Arjun away from the power. So I
right.
think that's what is going to happen. That is what the opposition is trying to do these days.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
sir.
But it will
So
not be a stable government. It will not be a stable government because Congress will just try to create some sort of a situation which it
mm,
thinks it can turn to its advantage, and
mm,
then things will start going south from there. And NDA will come back after that, 100%.
yeah.
That I can tell you.
Okay, sir. Great.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. We'll come to the consequences a little
Yes.
later. Let me first. So,
Yeah.
sir, what do you think is the basic difference between the 2014 and the 2019 elections?
Well, in 2014, Modi came with a lot of expectations. In
Mm,
2019, the expectations are more realistic. People understand that he cannot deliver on everything. They have to look
yes.
at his effort. So the
Mm,
effort has a certain potential, right? He did so much
yes.
effort. You have to
Yeah.
credit that and say, okay, if we give one more term, maybe he'll do a better job. But certainly you cannot take away his national security policy or his reach out to all the different countries. He has established some stupendous, excellent relations, one-on-one personal relations with many global leaders. That's something that Manmohan Singh couldn't do, Rajiv Gandhi hasn't done, Indira Gandhi hasn't done. So I go back and look at which other prime minister was able to establish that sort of cordial relations. Nobody comes to my mind.
Sir, so, I was actually reading through some tweets, sir. When in 2014 Modi ji came to power, the main accusation from the Lutyens lobby was he's not an English educated guy, so it will affect his foreign policy. I think precisely because he's not an English medium guy, he's not suffering from any inferiority complex. So that's the reason why he's able to establish a one-on-one relationship on equal terms. I guess that is the case.
Yes. No, but he is a supremely confident individual. He knows how to express himself. And I think his sincerity shows on his face. When he meets these leaders, his sincerity shows on his face. And the global leaders know that Modi's track record has been one of non-corruption right through his chief minister days. So personally, he is not corrupt. This has been established by every intelligence agency around the world. So everybody knows that this man is not corrupt. And for them, that is a welcome change. I don't know if you remember when Manmohan Singh went to meet Obama in his office, 2012 or 2013, I think. Okay. Now, what Obama did was the protocol demands that, the president sees the visiting prime minister off and he doesn't come out. He just stays in his office. The prime minister will go back with his entourage. But Obama walked with Manmohan Singh and he had a very friendly, arm across his shoulders. And this was breaking protocol. And I think what he was trying to convey, and this is how I saw it because I know what's happening in the background, that it was Sonia Gandhi who was running the whole show, that he felt that I'm sorry, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry that you have gotten to this position. I hope that, because, it was also saying that you are a much better man than how you are coming across to the world, So
maybe. I think that was happening around this nuclear deal time, sir.
No, that was 2008. That was Bush.
Oh, okay. Later on. I remember, sir. White House, those pictures were actually flashing around the world. I remember that. Yeah.
So Manmohan Singh, he is overrated as a finance minister and underrated as a politician, and that has really worked to his advantage, in my opinion. If you watch that movie, The Accidental PM, you can see what was really going on inside. A good man, an honest man. He had good intentions, but he got road ruled.
I think he lacks leadership skills, sir. I guess he's a very honest, loyal employee.
Right.
But you don't need employees sitting at the prime minister's seat. You need leaders. I think that's what
you will make some mistakes, but you need a leader. Correct.
That's okay. That's perfectly fine.
Yes.
Sir, and one more important thing, sir, as personally what I feel is, during 2014 elections, and I'm not sure what is the case in the North or some other places, but in South, at least as far as I know, Hindutva was never an issue. At least even if I'm actually someone who's who started reading newspapers from my 3rd, 4th standard. Of course, I was not able to understand what they're talking about, but I used to read newspapers. I still remember reading that in 4th, 5th. So I'm not someone who is completely disconnected. I'm always there. I followed JP's Lok Satta movement for the past 15, 20 years since he came to form this organization. So I'm very much connected. But even then, Hindutva was never an issue for me in 2014. I wasn't even aware of all these things. I don't even know that the civilizational challenges that we are facing. I don't even know the kind of destruction that happened to our civilization and the kind of loot that the British and the Mughals did. The kind of killings, all these things, the kind of genocide the Hindus had to undergo. All these things, the Lutyens lobby, the left wing politics, the JNU, the breaking in the forces, all these things were completely unknown to me during 2014. But I still voted Modi only because he performed better in Gujarat. So most likely, when you don't have too many options, you have to choose the one, but that is better. So I chose Modi just because of that. But right now, and I don't know how much of it is going to become vote. But right now, at least in the social media, it is a major theme. So do
Yes.
you think this is going to impact the outcome of the 2019 elections? How the role of social media and the awareness among the Hindus about the civilizational challenges they are facing?
Yes, Hindutva as a thing that needs to be consolidating Hindus has taken ground. It has come up more significantly in this last 5 years. But I would
Mm.
say that the credit for that goes more to the people like Dr. Subramanian Swamy and Rajiv
Yes,
Malhotra,
yes,
Sanjeev Sanyal, Mr. Gurumurthy, Madhav,
Gurumurthi,
Mohandas Pai, Mohandas TG,
Vaidyanathan sir,
R.
you.
Vaidyanathan. So everybody said, like, see, listen, this is not right. And the Sanatana Dharma is in danger now, and we have to do something about this. And that kind of spurred the people's psyche. And the young India today is much more embracing these things. There was a
Yes.
period, about 30, 40 years of period, when all the people growing up into convent schools, they knew how to
Mm.
recite passages from the Bible, but they could not recite passages from the Gita. You see, so
It wasn't cool.
yeah, it wasn't cool. Exactly. Now Hindutva is cool. So that's the
Hindutva
big
is cool.
change.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
big change that has been brought about. But I still worry that there are people who are blind voters who are voting just because of a particular religious inclination, or the feeling that this person belongs to my type of my caste, my jati, and therefore he will do good for me. They just have to go back and look at who did good for which caste. Nobody ever does anything like that. Even in Telangana, I was talking before Telangana went to state elections. I was talking to some people there, and they were saying that KCR has only enriched his very small community of people. The rest of the backward classes have not been really looked at by him. And instead,
Mm.
what he did, he went out and appeased the Muslims.
Yes.
So this the same thing Mamta has tried. The same thing, even to a certain extent, Chandrababu Naidu has tried. So these are all, they will give you one-time vote in short term, because the
No,
backlash
sir, I
is
think
happening with the
there is a
majority.
bigger game, I guess, sir. I think there is a bigger game. I think we are not able to look at the whole scenario because, say, for example, in Telangana,
Hmm.
KCR actually doesn't have any need to appease Muslims.
Hmm.
He is actually kind of monopolist there. Even if he loses out the seats in the Muslim areas, their hold in Telangana is much less. Of course, I'm not saying that he can completely ignore them, but the kind of level to which he has stooped down to appease the Muslims is really amazing. There is something we have to learn from these Muslim groups. They know how to handle the politicians, handle the politics, handle the situations in different countries in a different ways. They're a lot more planned. They're a lot more strategic. They're a lot more connected to each other. I have. In one of the pravachans, I heard that in Kali Yuga, unity is what is going to win you things. I think that is what we are lacking. Maybe it's because of we are not an organized kind of a religion like the Abrahamic faiths of Christianity and Islam. I think we have to learn these things from Islam and both Christianity, sir.
That is absolutely true. But remember that Sanatan Dharma is an open book, open architecture. It is very inclusive. You can have
Mm.
any kind of God you want. You can pray to anyone you want. In fact, I would say Sanatan Dharma is a superset of these Abrahamic religions, because in Sanatana Dharma there is something called as Bhakti Yoga. Under Bhakti
Yeah.
Yoga, you can have a personal God. So you can
Yes.
think of Allah as your personal God. Okay, so the bigger mindset change that needs to evolve is, I think this is going to happen. Like I saw in the 2019 lead up to the election, there were many rural villages in southern India where they were spotting these vans which are going to do conversion, and they would stop them at the boundary of the village, and they would just turn
Yeah.
them away, and they were
Very good.
basically very strong words. They said, don't come here. You know what you're up
Very
to.
good. Very good.
That sort of stuff.
Very good. Very good.
Right?
That's really good, sir. That's really good. So,
So
sir, the awareness. Do you think how much of this is going to actually impact the 2019 election space, sir? So the awareness which caused, especially by social media like Facebook or Twitter or WhatsApp, these things.
it is going to have, I would say, about 4 to 5% of the
Wow.
seats. That means 20 to 25 seats might go just because of the social media awareness. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. if you take a look at, I don't know how well about, I don't know much about Andhra channels, but Tamil Nadu channels, the complete television industry there is owned by three different entities. One is parties, political parties. Second is religious groups. The third is educational institutions, which are again like an extension of the religious groups. So, and each one is shamelessly showing only what is positive for their point of view. Now, the viewer doesn't have a neutral voice at all. And even the print publication has become that way in Tamil Nadu.
Same, sir. Telugu also same.
Same thing, right?
Everyone. So what Chandrababu Naidu did was, he was successfully make Modi a big villain in Andhra. Of course, but I don't know how much of the vote was transferred to him to help the elections is anyone's guess. But definitely, right now in Andhra Pradesh, Modi was a big villain. Modi is a big villain. So that he was successful only because he controls most of the media channels. You know, Inadu, everyone knows that it is his own channel. You know, almost it's as good as his own channel. And most of the other channels are also like that, because most of the other channels, as you know, are filled with communists, and for obvious reasons, they hate Modi.
Well, you know, this goes back to Abraham Lincoln saying, "You can fool all the people some of the time. You can fool some of the people all of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time." That last line is what social media does. Social media you cannot control. You see?
Yes.
If there was no social media, it would have been very, very difficult. If these people had grabbed the media outlets like the way they have, it would have been very difficult, because you can Goebbels, the propaganda guy of Hitler, used to say that a lie told 1,000 times over becomes the truth.
Yeah, I think Rahul Gandhi is following the same thing with his 30,000 crores to Anil Ambani.
That's true.
I think that's what he's trying to do.
That's true.
You know, these guys are too intelligent, sir. I don't know why these people don't use this kind of intelligence for the betterment of the country and the people. I don't hope they do that. One day.
I don't think Rahul Gandhi thought it up himself.
No, I'm not about Rahul Gandhi, sir. Rahul Gandhi, the people who are working at his back. We know about Rahul Gandhi.
See, that is where the problem is. A leader needs to be able to answer the follow-up questions also. He can't just make one starting statement and then hope that nobody is going to challenge him on that or ask some more in-depth questions. Then your shallowness comes out. And that is what is Rahul Gandhi's problem. However, I must caution you, the Rahul Gandhi of 2014 to Rahul Gandhi of 2019, there's a big difference. He has evolved. Whether he's going to be successful or not, because of the other technical problems that he has to deal with, multiple passports, multiple citizenships, and all the other things that are going to start coming out after the elections. So he has evolved as a politician, in my opinion. He's become a little bit more erudite. However, his problem has been and is lack of in-depth knowledge about India, its issues, its strengths, its plurality, and so on and so forth. Speaking forward,
I think, sir, we are done with the Gandhis as Prime Minister, sir. I think we are already done. I think Subramanian Swamy, sir, will make sure that Rahul Gandhi will never become a Prime Minister. Whether someone from Congress will become or not is a different issue. But we are done with Gandhis because we don't have any Gandhis left. You know, at least officially, Rahul Gandhi is not married. So Priyanka Gandhi is not Priyanka Gandhi. She's Priyanka Vadra. So we don't know whether we'll have a Vadra dynasty coming. But at least for Gandhis, I think we are done.